Hey everybody, so I didn't even plan on making this video. I was originally just going to make a community post and be done with it, but I wanted to make it to be open with you guys as well as just be transparent and talk about some things that I've been going through for the past year, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then also kind of want to just sprinkle in some things that I've been really struggling with. Mental health has been such a big prevalent thing lately, and I'm not necessarily looking for sympathy or anything like that. What I'm hoping happens is the comment section turns into a safe and welcome space for anybody that needs to talk. Now, I'm not a medical professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm hoping that maybe somebody out there just wants to talk about something that they're going through. I can be just a good ear, and hopefully that's a bridge or a stepping stone to you maybe finding help professionally, and you just need to get some things off your chest first. Maybe there's somebody out there in the comments section that has gone through something very similar to what you're going through. You don't necessarily have to go through what I went through. In fact, there's a very statistically low percentage of that. But that's what I'm hoping happens. Now, 2023 was a rough year for me. You'll notice that in the very first little couple months of the year, everything seemed fine. There were some video uploads. And then late spring, everything just sort of stopped. Now, on Father's Day, my brother and I were tossing the football back and forth. It went over the fence. I jumped the fence, tossed the ball back, went to jump back over the fence, and the fence broke on me when I pushed off. I came down sideways and very hard on my left leg and my left ankle, and I absolutely destroyed my left ankle. And when my leg gave out right after that, I came down on my tailbone and just accordioned my spine. And I was in just excruciating pain on the ground, rolling and just, yeah, it sucked. It did not feel good, trust me. And I have prior back injuries from a car accident, and I basically re-aggravated every single back injury I'd ever had. And I didn't even know I'd hurt my ankle at the time. It was about 10 minutes or so of me just laying on the ground before I finally mustered up the courage to try moving. And family members had helped me up, and I went to take a step and realized real fast that nope, my ankle was also in severe trauma. Now the fun part is, obviously, when you hurt your back, if you've ever done it before, you kind of walk around very straight after that. You don't want to bend over or jump or do anything like that. If you hurt your leg, you usually kind of hop on one foot. I couldn't do either. I couldn't hop on one foot because every time I hopped, it felt like a jackhammer to my spine, and I couldn't walk because my ankle was destroyed. So I ended up going to the doctor. Doctor sent me for x-rays, nothing broken, and they kicked me out the door. Now that was despite me trying to get more imaging done. Nothing ever happened at the time. Now for those of you that don't know, the Canadian medical system right now is severely overcrowded, understaffed, and overworked. And I feel bad for the medical professionals. I can't imagine what they're going through on a daily basis. The downside as a patient, that sometimes some things slip through the cracks, and that's pretty much what happened to me. Nothing was ever done further than that, despite the fact that my foot was kicked to the inside because there was nothing physically attaching it to the outside of my leg, as we're now finding out. Nothing was ever done at the time. Now, I'm finally going for medical imaging tests now, and they're trying to find out what exactly happened. Turns out I had a complete tear of the outer upper ligament on my ankle, a half tear of the inner upper ligament on my ankle, massive trauma and damage to the soft tissue and joints inside of the ankle itself, and a slight misalignment of the bone. So it wasn't good. Now there's already whispers of surgery. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that, because if it does, that's a whole other thing that's going to take even longer. But that's where I'm at right now with that. Now the very first video back that I did was the cornhole board video. That was the end of August. And if you guys notice in that video, I had an ankle brace on. And I still have it on right now. Now it's been, what, 7-8 months now, and I've still got the ankle brace on because it's still not great. It's still very sore. It's very unstable. But yeah, I ended up having to take basically the whole summer off because I couldn't walk. I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. And then right after that was the next video, was the shed update video. And in that video, if you guys watched that one, I said that I was moving at the end of September. And obviously that came and went, and I still don't have a place of my own. Now the idea was us moving. I was finally going to get a garage where I could make a nice shop out of and get better tools, have more space, more consistency in video uploads, better projects, more projects, better builds, and overall better content for you guys. That was the idea, and I was excited about that. Hasn't happened. Now, basically what happened was 2 weeks before we were supposed to move, I ended up going through a separation. And that was hard. And it was a 12-year relationship. And, 12 years ain't nothing. It was rough. It's still rough. And even if I had a place at the time, I did not feel like getting in front of a camera and being happy and excited and positive attitude and things like that and teach people how to do things. So I was off for a little while after that. Obviously, I'm still not really back because I still don't have a place of my own. I still don't have a shop. In fact, I'm filming this in my brother's garage right now because I don't have a place of my own. I don't have my own privacy. I don't have a shop, anything like that. So it's still up in the air. Now, that's basically where I was for 2023. That's the gist of what happened. Where is this going? Hopefully relatively soon here I'll finally have a shop of my own. I do have a video, maybe two. I still have to film it. I'm hoping I can get it done here relatively soon. I do have one recorded right now that I'm going to be uploading here, but that's that. Now, from a mental health standpoint, whether it's admitted or not, a big factor that came apart with the separation is an issue that we had a few years ago. And we had tried to move forward and develop a life without. And what I'm talking about is we tried having kids. And we couldn't. Specifically, I couldn't. So what ended up happening was we were trying for kids. Nothing ever happened. Now, I mean nothing. Usually you get the odd false positive. You might get one that, lasts for 2-3 weeks, a month, something like that, and then it washes out and it just sort of fails. We had nothing. Not a single thing. Went to the doctors. Doctor basically told us that, if this hasn't been going on for at least a recorded year, we can't do anything. So basically we had to leave and then wait a year of absolutely nothing before they would step in. So we waited our year. There were some good times in there. There was some rough times. But we finally, at the end of the year, felt more positive. Like things were going to start happening. We were talking to the doctors now. Things were going to start progressing. So they started doing a whole bunch of tests on her. Now they start with the female first because there's obviously a lot more things that can go wrong. They found nothing. Nothing major that would stop a pregnancy anyways. So they turned their attention to me. And the very first test just threw up all the red flags in the world. So I ended up getting sent to a specialist up in Saskatoon. Now that's 2.5 hours away just to get there, 2.5 hours back. So I ended up getting sent to a specialist up there, and we weren't there for 10 minutes. And he had already just basically gut punched me with the news that I can't have kids. Ever. Not normally anyway. And at the time I tried to not let that get to me specifically because we were dealing with it together. And it was rough to hear that. Something that you both want. Obviously as a woman, she wanted it more. It's just, you got that biological ticking clock that's telling her to have kids. And then for me, you got that monkey brain that tells you as a man that your one and only job in this world is to procreate and have kids. So to get told that you can't is, it's devastating. Now, very quickly, the doctor told us that we could still do IVF, even for me. So we were talking about it on the drive home, and we were hopeful and positive, and we wanted to go through with it. Now, for those of you that have gone through with IVF before, you'll know that it's time-consuming and painful and very expensive. All total, it cost us about $20,000, and I'm grateful to all of our family members that helped, even in the little ways they could, just anything they could do. I'm just grateful for everybody. Now I know that I shouldn't, because I didn't ask for it, but I obviously blame myself for everything. Because at the end of the day, it was me that couldn't have kids. Now, as a man, to be told that, it's rough. It's not easy. I can't even begin to tell you what she was going through. I'm not going to even attempt that. That's up to her. But, like I said, as a man, to be told that one of the few things that you should be able to do, that you can't do, that's hard to hear. But we were plowing forward as a couple, and we were going through the IVF, and the processes themselves are very painful. I was up on the docket first. I ended up having to go for a surgery. We had to go back to Saskatoon for the surgery, and man, that's painful. It was a physical extraction of tissue and stuff like that, and the region they're working in, it didn't feel good. But that was step one, so we were excited. Things were finally happening, and they started doing her procedures, and there were things that we had to do twice a day on our end. A lot of needles, things like that, and then we ended up having to go back to Saskatoon for her extraction, eggs and things. And again, this was at the very start of COVID. And I couldn't be in the room with her, which sucked. I literally just had to sit downstairs in the parking lot in the car and wait for her. And it was very painful for her. And I felt terrible. But she got back in the car, and it was smiles. We were happy. There was a bunch of samples, and we were upbeat that it was going to happen. We waited a little while. We were told that we had 4 chances. First one, we went back, failed after about a week. And we still had 3 more. We went back for our we had to wait a few months, went back for our second chance, and that one failed it almost made a month, and then it failed. But during that time, we were told that the other 2 had failed in the Petri dish. So that was it. We were done. And that was devastating, man. That sucked. As a couple, you're looking forward to this thing, you're excited, and nothing happens. Now, there's a lot of people that tell you, don't worry about it, some people aren't just meant to have kids. Fuck that. I could think of a lot of people out there, not to get political, that shouldn't have kids, but do. And we would have made great parents. But it never happened. Anyway, I've been dealing with this whole, not being able to have kids things. At the time, like I said, I didn't deal with it correctly. I just sort of buried it. I'm finally dealing with it now, and it turns out that it fucked me up a lot more than I thought it did. It's been rough. The crappy thing is it's less than 1% of all men. It's like 0.6 or 0.7% of men have this problem. So it's super rare. But this guy's got it. Everything's there. Nothing's plumbed up. It's basically the gist of it. If you want to Google it, go for it. I'm not going to get into it. But, yeah. So it sucked. But anyway, that's where I've been. That's what's up. Hopefully this is where I'm headed. That's what I'm going through. Again, if you guys are going through something and you want to open up in the comments section, please be nice. Keep it safe. I'll be an ear. Maybe somebody down there has gone through something very similar to you. But if not, again, I suggest you try and find some help. Because the thing with at least what I'm going through, especially as a man, there's not a lot of support out there. Obviously, rightfully so. It's extremely rare. But there's not a ton of support out there for something like this. So keep yourself safe. Stay happy. And I'll talk to you guys later.